if you're just joining me. Oh, there we go. Kelly warned me that that would happen, the recording announcement. At the end during the Q&A, I'll put my, I'll make sure to give my email address again in case you all don't have it yet, in case you want to get in touch with me. And I just want to spend 1 minute showing you the ARMLS website, just in case you've never seen it before. There is a lot of misconception out there that this is our website, where this is actually FlexMLS. So this is ARMLS.com. And there's just a bunch of stuff in here that from time to time when I'm presenting, I might mention. So because of that, I just want you to know where to find it. If I mention our blog, it's right here in the support section, and you click here on ARMLS blog and you'll get all of our articles. They go back about 4 years. They're there for you to look at, to review, to share, do whatever you want with. We write them for you. And then here in the learning section, we have a whole library of online classes, as well as, if you click here on classes, live classes that you can register for. When I say live classes, I do present them like this. We use GoToWebinar, but we do have live classes. Some of them are 2.5 hours long. Some of them are 90 minutes, various topics. So go ahead and get familiar with what we're offering so that after today, you can continue your education. Okay, having said that, this is FlexMLS. And just to remind you, today we are doing advanced searching in FlexMLS. So I'm not here to tell you how to, find properties and how to save them and basic things like that. That hopefully you already have the knowledge base for. We're going to kick it up a notch, and how to make FlexMLS work for you better, how to fine tune your results so that you're servicing your clients the best way possible, maybe even some ways that other agents out there aren't able to do because you have this advanced knowledge. So let's talk about, we're going to start off slow with like slightly advanced. I'm going to get more and more. And the very last thing I'm going to do is going to be pretty advanced. If you have a pen and paper or a note, what's the tablet, something like that to make notes on, that would be great, because there might be some things that you've never seen before. So starting off slowly with advanced, you might notice right here at the top of my screen that my toolbar, my FlexMLS toolbar, looks different than yours. And that's because I've customized it, because time is money. And especially when you work on commission, right? Time is definitely money. And I have up here the items that I use most in FlexMLS, because if you click here on the menu, there is a ton of stuff to choose from. And to be perfectly honest, a lot of it I've never once clicked on. It's just not necessary for my everyday business. So if there is something you want here in your toolbar, you hover over it, like maybe you want add listing, and you click on the star. It'll turn yellow and it will appear in your toolbar. On the opposite side of the coin, if there's something you don't want, like maybe you're like, oh, I really never use listing collections, then hover over the star next to listing collections and get it removed. Because FlexMLS does default to giving you some things on that toolbar. So you could just change it like that. So I'm going to put my toolbar back the way I like it. And okay, we'll continue. Moving a little bit down, we have here the search template that you've probably used many times to search FlexMLS. And they give you 8 different default templates based on property classes, right? You're most likely using one residential the most part. Maybe every now and then the rental template or the land and lots template. But what you might not know is that you can permanently modify these templates and save them as your own. So any change you make to these templates, Flex will never, ever, ever allow you to delete one. No matter how hard you click on this, you can't delete any of their templates. But if you make changes to them, you can then save the changes permanently, because what they're going to do if you make changes and you don't save the changes, they're just going to default back to their old template. They kind of want to really force that template on you, which, might or might not be what you want, right? If you are a listing agent, you probably are aware that there are thousands and thousands and thousands of fields in FlexMLS to choose from. So how did Flex decide just to arbitrarily give us this handful to search by, right? So let's make this our own. There's some things here that I never really use. One of them is map code grid. Phase 2 plot for Greyhawk, parcel 1, whatever. No one, I really don't need that. So I'm taking that off. D3 Phoenix, all of that stuff I don't need. Legal description, same thing. Off market date. Well, I'm making a perfect buyer's template right now. So I don't really need the market date over there. So I'm taking off market date. I'm taking that away. And I also take away slab parking. You get the point. I'm removing different things by clicking on these little X's. Now you can click on as many of them as you want, get rid of as many as you want, or as few as you want. The goal is to clear up some space so that your eyes aren't diverted to all this stuff you don't need, and to make room for other fields that you might want added in. For example, I think it's very handy to search the public remarks. So I'm going here where the plus sign is, and I'm typing in public. And the minute I start typing, Flex is kind of intuitive, and it will ask me, do you want public remarks? I'm like, yeah, I do. Let's do another one. Maybe I want kitchen features. And you see, before you start typing, if you want to, you can scroll through everything that's available. It would take you a while. It goes in alphabetical order, but you could, if you really wanted to get curious and see everything that's in there. I kind of know what I want to add in, so I'm just going to type that stuff in. I'm going to put in kitchen, and then I can take the whole entire category or little bits and pieces. I think it's better for me to take the whole category. I'm grabbing kitchen features. I'm going to do one more. HOA. A lot of people care if they are in an HOA or not. Some people want it, some people don't. I'm just taking the one field this time, the HOA yes, no field, just the one field, not the entire category with all this stuff. So now I have my template pretty much the way I want it, right? The problem is, and I promise you this is the case, if I were to leave and Flex were to log off, or if I were to go to a different tab here in my menu, all of my work right now would go away. And they would bring me back to their one residential template because I didn't permanently make any changes right now. So in order to save these great changes that I've made to this template, you need to click over here on save. And you'll see that it's asking you save a search or save quick search template. Well, we didn't do anything, right? We haven't searched for a single thing yet. We're saving the quick search template. I'm gonna have to name it. And I'll say, whoops, got to spell right, October 12 class. All right, so now I'm saving it. Now watch, don't panic. I'm going somewhere else on my screen. I'll go to my portal preferences. Maybe I'll go to my contact management. I'm going to go back to quick search now, pretending it's a different day. And you see that template, the one residential, is back to the way I didn't want it, with that map code grid, you know, the D4 of Phoenix and all that, and the legal description. So it's gone. What I did is gone. Not really though. Click right here on change search template, this little down caret arrow, whatever you want to call it, and scroll past their 8 templates, which again, you can't get rid of. And you see I have some of my own 923 class horse properties, Michelle's perfect buyer template, right there, October 12 class. How cool is that? And now they can't take it away from me. Yes, the original template is still there, but I have my own here. And watch, I can make changes to it. Maybe I want to also add in, let's see, guest house. Now I have added that in. So watch what I do. I save again, save quick search template. And now it's saying, do you want to make a whole new one, or do you just want to replace this one? Yeah, I want to override it, right? I don't need a second template like this. I'm going to click save. And as you might have noticed, I have one here called horse properties. You can get as creative as you want. But my horse properties one, for someone who handles a lot of people that are shopping for horse properties, maybe you farm like up in the Cave Creek area or something like that. You have arenas, barns, all that. So you can make as many templates as you want. You don't have to just make one to serve different needs. So I'm going to show you one more thing with the templates. If you want to manage these templates, Flex doesn't make it easy. You'd think that just clicking on it, you could delete it or modify it or, do something with it. But unfortunately, it's there to stay. So if you want to make changes to the title of the template, or you want to delete it, or even if you want to share it with someone, you go here to menu. And in preferences, you go to My Quick Searches. So I know it's not called templates, which is kind of weird. It's called My Quick Searches. And then you see all of mine here. So watch how easy this is. I'm going to get rid of my 923 class because I made that with a different day that I was teaching. So I'm going to click remove, easy. And now let's say I want to share the one I made today with one of my colleagues within my office. I could just click on it, give to someone. You have to know their agent ID and you can share it with them. So you save them that hard work. So those are templates. That's how to work within the template. Hope you found that helpful and useful. If you already knew this, don't worry, we're going to get more advanced. That was like I told you, I'm climbing a hill here. I'm going to get more and more advanced as we go on, and there's bound to be some things you haven't seen before. Within these templates, regardless of which template you're using, there's always some kind of fields. I want to get back to just the one I made just now. So it has things that I want in it. There's always some fields that might trip you up a little. So let's just talk about some of those. One thing that you might or might not already know is that with the city field, if someone wants to live in, let's say, Phoenix and Tempe, or Chandler and Mesa, or Cave Creek and Carefree, you don't have to do two different searches. You can combine as many cities as you want, but you have to use a comma. So you would just do Cave Creek, comma, Carefree, comma, Scottsdale. You can go on and on. You could do the same thing with zip codes. Pretty much any field within FlexMLS where you're typing things in, you can add to your list and use a comma to have more selections. So that's for city and for zip code. Another tricky field, subdivision. At the end, one of the last things I'm going to do here today, kind of like my bow on the present for you, the icing on the cake, is I'm going to show you a very advanced way to search for subdivisions. But before I do that, I just want to clear out my screen. I want to show you some of the inherent problems when searching for subdivisions. Now, subdivisions are really important in our MLS, right? Unlike some parts of the country, the greater Phoenix area has a lot of subdivisions. And often clients will say to you, I really want to live in this particular subdivision. So there's quite a few issues. One of them I call spelling counts. Let's take a peek. Your client says they want to live in Greyhawk, and you're like, oh, wonderful, that's great. I'm going to make a nice commission. Those homes are kind of expensive. And you type in G-A-E-Y-H-A-W-K, enter. And you get 0 listings. By the way, one time I did this and I got ahead of myself and I was like, and there's 0 listings. And there were 3. That's another story. It's because on the other end, whatever the listing agent puts in is going to match up here. So if the listing agent writes it wrong, well, yeah, you'll get that result. So Greyhawk, if you're talking about the subdivision in North Scottsdale, is spelled with an A. And spelling counts in FlexMLS. I wrote a blog article about that. Remember I mentioned the blog? So you can go to the little search feature within the blog and type in spelling and you'll find that article. FlexMLS is not a search engine. I'm going to say that again. FlexMLS is not a search engine. So they cannot just guess what you're trying to type and get it close or get in the ballpark. It's an exact matching game. Whatever you type in, they're going to look for exact matches on the listing side. So Greyhawk is spelled with an A, Grayhawk. And now you're probably going to have about 12 listings, got 13. So it's only going to be able to match up what's actually out there. Now, like I said, if a listing agent had spelled it wrong, you would find that one listing. Watch what happens if I make Greyhawk 2 words, which I've seen many times. No listings. Again, Flex can't just get close but no cigar. They need it exact. So that's one reason why it can be tricky to search for subdivisions, Because you know what, here in this part of the country with the desert landscape that we have and the Native American heritage here, there's a lot of words that are very tricky to spell in our geographic area, right? Subdivisions and neighborhoods that are named after maybe desert plants or cacti and that we've never known how to spell, or maybe they're Native American in origin and they're a little tricky for us. So it really can be beneficial to know a different way to search around this area. Two other reasons why searching for subdivisions can trip you up is sometimes, and I'm not going to say the L word, not going to say that they're being untruthful, but sometimes listing agents bend the facts a little bit and say that a home is in a subdivision when it's really not. Maybe it's really close to the subdivision, it's walking distance, they can see it out of their kitchen window, and they fudge it a little bit, which messes up your searches. On the flip side, maybe that listing agent entered the listing really quickly, or their transaction coordinator entered it for them really quickly, and they just didn't even check off the box for the subdivision. And therefore, if you're saying, I only want to look in Greyhawk, you won't get that listing because the listing agent didn't say, hey, yeah, this is in Greyhawk. So again, we're going to find some better ways to search for subdivisions at the very end of today. A few other tricky little fields here that you might or might not know about. The pool features field is an example of a field that I call the and or not field. And it's because we have these little tiny text words that can be changed from or, which it defaults to and or not. Watch what I mean. We're telling Flex that we want a pool and we want it to be private in the backyard and heated and fenced. It's important. Your clients say to you, look, we have to have that heated fenced pool. We have a 4-year-old likes to swim all year round. We don't want him falling into the pool. So the problem is checking off these boxes like that. If you read the sentence, find me in pool features a fenced or heated or private pool. So just a private pool in the backyard is going to do the trick, or a private heated pool with no fence will do the trick. What your client wanted was the word and. They want all of those things, right? So right here on the word or, switching it to and you might have seen, I did it quick. I'm going to do it a little more slowly. It first goes to not, which you could also use. I'm using and now I've told Flex, give me a pool that's fenced and heated and private. I could have said private and no fence, right? Private, not fenced. Sometimes people don't want a fence. So that's an example of the and or not field. There's a lot of them throughout Flex. I'll tell you right off the top of my head, kitchen features is one of those fields with the and or not. Exterior features is one of those fields. No, not exterior features. I'm sorry. Property description. That's the one I meant. Property description is one of those fields. So it's like, you know, the alleyway, the cul-de-sac, all of that. So get used to those and or nots, but just be really careful using them. You could end up boxing yourself out of results. If you get too hyper specific, oh, we need a granite kitchen and a pantry and a center island and a gas stove and a blah, blah, blah. You could end up being so specific that you're not going to find any listings because the listing agents didn't check off all those boxes. Because remember, and if you remember nothing else about all these examples, remember this, it is a matching game. Only what the listing agent checks off will apply to your search. So if the listing agent does not check off granite counters, doesn't matter if there are granite counters, Flex won't find it. So I hope that makes some sense to you. Okay, last but not least in the template, before we move on to the map, which is going to get really fun, is the public remarks. We're going to think outside the box today. You guys are advanced students, right? So we're going to do some advanced thinking. The public remarks is a really good field to add into your template, but you have to use it carefully. And if you're just starting out, you're a newbie, I would say you might not want to play with it. But if you're getting more advanced and you feel like you want to up your search results a little bit by getting them a little more fine-tuned and saying these specific things that you want, yes, you could search public remarks. Even though there's thousands of fields within FlexMLS, not everything can be listed, right? They're not going to think of everything. So there might be things like a wine cellar, right? Or a lazy river. Believe it or not, one time I did a search and there were like a dozen properties with lazy rivers in the backyard. These are things that you wouldn't normally be able to find in a template, but if you typed into the public remarks, you could find them. Another example is a casita, right? So there are times when you might have that finicky client and they really want something very specific. So you're going to put it into the public remarks. Use caution for so many reasons. One reason is spelling counts, just like I showed you with subdivision. Grammar counts, just like I showed you with subdivision. Let me show you. Mother-in-law suite, something that a lot of people around here sometimes ask for because we are a vacation destination and they say, you know what, I don't want these family members coming and hovering on top of me all day. So mother-in-law suite. It is a public remark field because it does not appear in the search template. I have 10 properties with a mother-in-law suite. Okay, I would think there'd be more. Well, guess what? Mother-in-law by the letter of the law is spelt mother-in-law. So let's see what happens from the 10 results if I type it correctly and press enter again. 27. That's good news. But the bad news is there's 27 plus 10 mother-in-law suites out there in FlexMLS. They're exclusive of each other. So if you remember what I said before, this is where your commas come into play. What I would do, and this is advanced searching, I would get creative. I'd put a comma and then type it wrong also because I want to get those 10 results too. And then really, does the client actually need a mother-in-law suite? Wouldn't they be happy with a guest room or a casita or maybe a bonus room or even a loft perhaps? There's the possibilities are endless. Watch what happens when I type in all these words separating with a comma. Over 1,600 results. So the takeaway here, again, when you're getting a little bit more advanced, start thinking outside the box. Think about synonyms for words. Think about other ways something can be phrased. And think about how your fellow agent, your listing agents might be phrasing something. A perfect example of this is as-is properties, right? If you're looking for as-is properties, that can be also called a fixer-upper. And also is as-is with a hyphen or is it not? I would say put it all in. Put every permeation of as-is plus fixer-upper plus handyman special and whatever else you can come to mind. This is where being an experienced agent helps because you've heard all this terminology before. Same thing with turnkey, right? That can mean renovated, remodeled, all of that. So public remarks, check your spelling, check your grammar, think outside the box. And I hope you're kind of putting on your thinking cap, and I hope a light bulb went off if you're a listing agent to be really thoughtful and mindful when you're listing a property and using the public remarks. It's not the time to bust out your SAT words with 5 syllables each, because maybe on the searching end, nobody's thinking like that. When you're writing your public remarks, write them as though someone on the searching side might be searching for those things. Really use those 800 characters that you get wisely. So that was kind of a double-pronged thing here. So use the public remarks sparingly, and also just remember it's going to be a matching game. So if you put in that you want all this stuff, you're only going to see listings that have at least one of these things. So just use it with caution. Okay, we're going to move away. And for the next half of the lesson, we're going to be here on the right side of the screen, the map. We're going to do a lot of cool, fun things with the map. Now, you might have played around with the map before, and maybe, you've zoomed in, you've zoomed out. Maybe you've even used Nosy Neighbor, right? Because, these are some basic mapping functions. But we're going to really dive into the map here and learn how you can augment your searching so that the map can play into your search and provide you with even more results and more fine-tuned results. The good news is you can use the map with or without the search template. So you can do some map searching completely on its own, or you can add in some filters too and really get some very, very exact results. Let's play around a little. First thing we're going to look at is are these shape tools down here. We have the square, the circle, and the polygon. So all three of these shapes allow you to draw on the map with that shape, but you really want to pick wisely based on what your needs are. There's different shapes for different purposes. So for example, if you're trying to do a search on the map and you have really hard boundary lines, north, south, east, west, well, I would use the rectangle shape. If you care more about a radius, like I don't want to be near this, or I do want to be near that, use the circle. And the polygon is kind of where everything goes crazy, where you just really don't have a set rule. You just want to make a crazy shape on the map. Let's play around. So the search template, as wonderful as it is, doesn't provide you with everything you might need to do a comprehensive search for certain clients. For example, in our support department, we get calls all the time asking about, oh, I can't find properties in Old Town. I can't find properties in the Biltmore section. It's not coming up in the cities. Well, that's because those aren't really legally classified cities. They're more marketing neighborhoods or communities. So that's where the map comes into play. My first scenario, I have a bunch of imaginary clients. Just by the way, I wanted to let you know, I have all these imaginary clients. So my first scenario is about my imaginary clients, married couple, no kids. They don't really care about schools. They don't really care about neighborhoods and parks and things like that. They work a lot and they want to be very close to the highways that they take to work. So I'm going to go over here with my map, get the 51 and the 101 front and center, because that's the bread and butter for this couple. I'm going to zoom in a little using the plus and minus. You've probably done this before. And you get this little area here. My imaginary clients have told me that they want to be very close to the 51 and the 101. So they don't want to go too far east or too far west, because that'll put them away from the 51. And they also don't want to go north of the 101. They think it gets too remote up there. There is no way to search for that in Flex with the template, right? What are you going to do? Put it into the public remarks. Please don't put me north of the 101 and please put me near the 51. You might get 3 or 4 results. Maybe a listing agent wrote in the public remarks, convenient to the 101, but that doesn't mean it's going to be a perfect match. Watch what we're going to do. Taking my rectangle shape right here, I'm clicking on it. And just west of the 51 and below the 101, I'm going to click once and drag until I'm a little bit east of the 51. Because remember, they don't want to go too far in either direction. And I'm going to go down a little bit south. They don't want to be too far from that 101. And I'm going to click one time. And 128 properties have filtered into my magic little rectangle. How do I know that? It says right up here in the left. View results, 128. You might also notice that now above the status field, it says rectangle. It's telling me that I have a rectangle on the screen. And if I don't want it there, I could click that little X and get rid of it. But I do want it here because I want to talk about it. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so that we can see it better. So I just told FlexMLS to magically find me properties within this little tiny piece of Phoenix that my clients want to be in. But maybe that's not good enough. Maybe they're like, well, 128 houses, like, well, you know, we don't want to look at 128 and we also don't have all the money in the world. We have a price range. So, okay, you could be done and just save this search, or you can add filters. Let's add some filters. They can't go above 650,000. Okay. And they want at least 3 bedrooms. So they have guests sometimes and they need an office space. Now we have 72 properties. You could keep whittling it down, of course, for other criteria, but I'm happy now. And I'm going to kind of weed through these results. So watch, all I do is save search like I would any search. It does not matter because I put that shape on it. I can call it whatever I want. Rectangle search. Adding the shape to the screen did nothing to change things. It did nothing. Okay, so I'm going to clear this out. We're going to play around with the next shape. All right, we're going to move on to the circle. This one's fun. I have to get to a certain place on the map for these imaginary clients. I like to use my same imaginary clients all the time. Okay, so I have these another imaginary couple. This couple's a little bit different. They don't care necessarily about being near a particular highway, but they have a unique situation. The husband is a doctor and he works at the Mayo Clinic. And he, by contract, cannot live more than 5 miles from Mayo Clinic. It's part of the deal that he has with them. So that's a radius search. That's when you would want to circle. So think about it. If you don't want to be near something, or you do want to be near something, you would want to be drawing a radius. So let's say, I don't want to live more than 3 miles from my child's school. I don't want to live anywhere near my ex-husband or my ex-wife. Sometimes you might really not care about boundaries, you care about distance. So I'm going to take my circle and I'm going right above Mayo and I'm going out my 5 miles and I'm clicking once. Play around with my zoom so you can see my nice little circle there. I did such a nice job making my circle. And now there's a problem though, because the wife is an executive in an office park down here in the Kierland area. And she's saying to you, no, there's no way I'm living that far up north, way at the top of that little search bubble. There's no way. I want to be somewhat near my office. So watch and take my circle again. I'm going to go right here to the Kierland area. And I'm going out for her little radius. And I'm clicking once. So now she's happy. And you think, wow, I did a great job. Look, all these properties are filling in. There's 717 of them. But did you really do a good job? Is the doctor allowed to live down here? No, he's not allowed to. That's more than, it's out of his little bubble of 5 miles. And does she want to live up here? No, too far from her office. So you did a good job layering your shapes. And that is something that you can do with any shape, by the way. Put as many of them on the map as you want, combine them, overlap them. The world is your oyster. Do whatever you want. But you're not quite there yet. You got your 2 circles here, but they're not quite working for you. And let's take a look at the little word that's above the circles. It says within. Let's click on that within. And it's now changed to intersection. And now you have the perfect little sweet spot in between those 2 circles where your clients would want to live. And you have 262 properties and you could filter accordingly. They want a pool, they want 4 bedrooms, they want 3 bathrooms, whatever it might be, get them their results. And yes, save the search like you would any other search. Drawing shapes does not at all mean you can't save the search. Remember, like with all the shapes, to get rid of the shape off your map, if you don't like it, you want to start again or something like that, just click the little X's and the shapes would go away. If you want to modify a shape once you've drawn it, you don't want to get rid of it, but you want to change it, click on the shape's border and you see where it says circle edit. I can edit my shape then. Click edit shape and I could resize it, but I don't want to fool with that right now. But yeah, so you have a lot of functionality here with the shapes. I want to show you one more thing with the circles. That's pretty cool. And we're going to move on to the next shape. I'm not going to bore you drawing this shape though, because I'm trying to get as much bang for the buck here. So luckily I have it saved already. And I'll tell you my little story while I'm accessing the saved search. Another imaginary client wants to live in Tempe, but does not want to be near the airport. Sorry, I accidentally clicked mute when I was trying to get the panel box to go out of my way. Going right up here to my saved searches. And you see I have Tempe, no airport. I'm clicking on that search. And you'll see that once upon a time, I drew a circle on the map right above the Tempe, the airport in Tempe, the Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. And I drew it out, I think it was about 3 miles. And my client said they did not want to be near the airport, but they do want to be in Tempe. They also had some parameters like price things and bedrooms, the bathroom. You see here on the left how I filtered that out. But I did magic that no other realtor could do. I found them properties in Tempe that are not near the airport. That's pretty hard to do without knowing how to use your shapes. So see up here above the word circle, it says not within. I had drawn my shape. I chose the not within, and then I filtered. You could do that with anything. Maybe there's something unsavory near a particular area that people don't want to live near, or maybe they don't want to be anywhere near the highway, or maybe they don't want to be near a very busy shopping center. You do that same thing, draw the little radius around that undesirable thing, and then do not within. Pretty cool, right? Okay, hopefully everyone's saying yes. We're going to move on to the last shape, the polygon. And it's down here. It's this weirdly shaped shape. I'm going to click on polygon. And this time I don't really have a story because I'm trying to be fast. I'm just going to demonstrate how to use it. Sometimes clients want very strange things. Get me north of here, but south of there, but don't put me near there. And I also want a view of the golf course and I want all this stuff. And sometimes you just have to wiggle your way around an area, but it's impossible with the search template. And it doesn't match up to a neighborhood or a subdivision. It's more exact than that. So watch what you do. I'm just going to pick a place on the map, not even making up a story. Clicking here on the shape and go to wherever that particular part of the world is that they want to be in. Click one time. This shape is a little different. Click one time, and while you're holding that click, you're going to drag out to whatever distance you want. You're going to click one more time. Every time you click, you can change direction. Every time. Make my shape and they double click. Double click to end. So it's a little different than the other shapes. And you see now it works just like all my other shapes. You see I got this crazy shape here that matches up wherever the person wanted to live. And like all my other shapes, I could be filtering. I could do whatever I want. All right. Those are the shapes. We're about to take the knowledge that we just got using these shapes, and we're going to kick it up even another notch. We're going to talk about the FlexMLS overlays and how you can use them, and then more importantly, how you can use them in your searches. I'm going to clear my screen. Up here on the right, I have the overlays. You see here, the top right of my map. Click that little arrow, and MLS has given me, I forget how many, I think there's 8 of them, 9 of them, overlays. Now, what's an overlay? Well, I'll show you. I'm clicking on zip codes. It's literally something laid over the map. And in this case, it's zip codes to show you the boundaries. So maybe you're new to this particular area and you want to be the best realtor you can be. You're trying to learn boundary lines of the different zip codes. Or maybe you have a client that's really getting nitpicky with you and being like, well, I want to be in 85020, but I don't want to be in 85028. And so you're just trying to learn the, kind of the lay of the land. So this is your zip code boundary overlay. You can combine overlays. Watch, you're going to choose the FEMA flood zone overlay. And I'm going to zoom a little so you can see it. And because it's kind of hard, even though you can combine overlays, sometimes it's hard to see more than one. So I'm going to remove zip code. How do you remove it? Click on it again. Now I just have the FEMA overlay. If you want to know what all those colors mean, click right here on this little legend box. And boom, the legend will pop up showing you what the different colors mean. Okay, we're going to move on to a different overlay. It is my favorite overlay. It is the neighborhood overlay. So I'm going to zoom a little. You have to play around with your zooms when you're using these overlays because it's like not always perfect until you kind of zoom in, zoom out. So right here, right in the center of my world here, I've got Paradise Valley, right? A place where sometimes people want to live. You won't find it in the search template. If you're lucky, you'll get a listing agent who's savvy and will write in the public remarks, this is a beautiful, prestigious Paradise Valley home. But what if they call it PV instead? Well, then you're out of luck unless you did comma PV. So this is a better way to find homes in Paradise Valley. What about some of these other areas that are pretty popular that clients might sometimes tell you they want to live in? Like right now, this Willow district and Garfield are kind of up and coming for like sometimes a lot of younger people. And then we have, where am I? Need to get up here, very desirable parts of the Greater Phoenix area, the Biltmore area, Arcadia Light, you see here? Who knew there was an Arcadia Light? What if you have a client that says, I want to live in Arcadia Light? And you're like, what the heck is that person even talking about? Well, there you go. There's Arcadia Light. Who knew? So this is a great way to learn the boundaries of different marketing neighborhoods that people might ask you about. But wait, there's more, because does just looking at it on a map help you with your search? I mean, I'm clicking on it, nothing's happening. Like how does this help me search? Yeah, it teaches me. It's a good lesson, but I want to actually get some searches going here. And I don't understand how this even helps me much. Well, watch. Oh, wait, I have a question in the chat. I'm sorry. I really haven't been looking at the chat because I've been so busy. Hold on. Yeah, that is funny. Someone said, I heard Arcadia Light has half the calories. That's funny. Oh gosh, that's a new one. I use Arcadia Light all the time in my class. No one's ever said that. So I'm going to pick on Arcadia Light because we're liking it so much. Well, actually, that's not true. I use Arcadia Light, truth be told, because it's easy to draw. And when I'm teaching live like this, I don't want to get embarrassed making a mistake with my drawing. So I pick a shape that's nice and easy to draw. But what I'm going to show you now, you can do with any of the neighborhoods that you're seeing in the overlay. You're going to pick a tool. Which of your shapes best matches? Well, the square rectangle shape would match, right? Arcadia Light. And that would be the best bet. But that's a little too easy. I want to show you how, for most shapes, you're not going to have something that's such a box. So I want to demonstrate again how to use the Polygon tool. So I'm going to take my Polygon tool. I'm going to start here on the most tippy top northwest corner of Arcadia Light. And again, just to demonstrate the mechanics of using the polygon again, clicking once, and I'm going to drag out, and I'm going to click every time I want to change my direction. And I'm double clicking to end my shape. Ah, look at that. Properties in Arcadia Light have now filtered in. There's 13 of them. I can filter it. They can't spend more than 900,000 and they need 3 bedrooms. And I can save it. Having that shape on the map does not change anything. I'm going to save it. Arcadia Light 1012. And I'm going to save. Watch, I go to my saved searches. And there's Arcadia Light 1012. I click on it. The shape is still there. If I come back tomorrow, next week, maybe there's 5 listings, maybe there's 3, because you know, you're advanced searchers. You know that you're not saving the properties. You're saving the results you're saving the search filters that you applied, and then you're getting results based on that. So maybe the next time I go back to this search, I have 5 properties, maybe I have 6, maybe I have 3. But today we're in the same day. I still have my 4 properties. So you see, everything was the same. Now you might be saying, yeah, but she did that easy. She chose Arcadia Light. She cheated. Watch. I'm going to go here to overlays, and below the MLS overlays, you see my map overlays. I have created all of these overlays. I'm going to show you that I did Arcadia. I'm clicking on Arcadia. I have to zoom a little. You see my Arcadia overlay. I drew that by hand. Was it easy? No. Did I make a few mistakes? Yes, but I drew that by hand. I'm very familiar with the Greyhawk area. That's kind of like my thing. Watch what I did for Greyhawk. And that's using the subdivision overlay, which I'll show you in a minute. Not only did I do Greyhawk, all of it, but I did the guard gated section only, and I did the park section only. If you know Greyhawk, you know what I'm talking about. So I'll punch up only the guard gated section of Greyhawk. You see how I did that? Because I knew my boundaries within the Greyhawk subdivision. So once you know how to use these drawing tools combined with your map overlays, so watch, I'm going to pick the subdivision overlay. And you see how I traced that part of Greyhawk? Now, granted, I knew that this was the gated section. I've lived in Talon for many years, so I knew that this was the gated section. So I drew my little boundary. But I could also, when I chose all of Greyhawk, see, I just traced the exact boundaries of Greyhawk to get that. I also did Pima Acres once. You can combine them. You can have more than one. Where'd my Pima Acres go? See, I did Pima Acres once. So I played around with this a lot. I suggest you play around also. So let's talk about that. Once you draw a shape on the map, how do you get it to stay here in your overlays? Because you might notice I took the time to draw that Arcadia Light shape, and it's here in my saved search, right? Whoops, that wasn't it. It's here in my saved search, but I didn't see the shape in my overlays. Why is that? Well, guess what? Flex does not make it easy on you. They are so, I feel like they just try hard to challenge us. And that's why I have a job. Yes, drawing the shape on the map will help you use it in the search. And yes, you can come back to that search anytime to reuse it. But if you want to get it to include in your overlay library, you have to do one extra step. And this is why I said you might want to take notes. This is why I told you I was saving the most advanced stuff for the end. The way you get your shapes to save permanently in your library of overlays, so you don't have to go digging around in your saved searches to find them, is you click on Save, Save Polygon as my map overlay. And now I'm going to name it Arcadia Light Overlay, save. And now I'm pretending it's a different day. I'm going to my overlays and I have Arcadia Light Overlay right there. See? There's my Arcadia Light Overlay. So play around with it. Use the subdivision overlay, use the neighborhood overlay, and make yourself a library of overlays for neighborhoods and subdivisions that you farm a lot in. Remember earlier I said spelling counts, and it's also sometimes the listing agent might fudge it a little. If you use your boundaries and you say, well, no, I only want to see things that are in Greyhawk. I'm using my Greyhawk overlay, and I'm only going to get things that are in Greyhawk. Find Greyhawk, where is it? Then no one can trick you. Flex MLS will only pull listings in that are in that bubble of Greyhawk. Even if the listing agent puts something way up here and says it's Greyhawk, it won't filter in because geographically it's not fitting the boundaries. So that's how you safeguard yourself against all those pitfalls that I mentioned earlier with subdivisions. But wait, there's more. I told you there was going to be a bow on the present, icing on the cake. It is not enough to just pop the shape up here on the screen. Look, you see no properties are filtering in. Remember before when I put the Arcadia Light drawing on the screen, properties automatically filled in, and now that I'm choosing it from my overlays, nothing's happening? It's because, again, Flex wants to make things difficult for you. Just asking Flex to use an overlay is not going to help you search by the overlay. You see, just choosing my Arcadia Light overlay just puts it on the map as a gray blob. Watch what you have to do. I'm going to do a new search. I'm going to go here to browse. I'm over here in my template. Think about it like this. I had to think long and hard about this when I first started wrapping my head around this topic, because I'm like, it makes no sense. Why do they make us do this? You're telling FlexMLS that you want to pull something from the map world into your search template. So you're browsing through the map to bring something in. A little weird. So click browse, and you can choose which of your overlays you want to search by. I'll say something we didn't pick on already. Let's do this downtown Phoenix overlay. And now you double click on the word Polygon. And now look, it's put on the map as a blue blob instead of a gray one, and properties filtered in. So I'm going to give you that path again. You're going to hit browse. You're going to choose the overlay by clicking on it, and then you're going to double click the word Polygon. And guess what? You could also do Garfield. Same thing. You could put more than one on the map. Maybe your client says, I want to be in Garfield or downtown Phoenix. Or they say to you, I want to be in Pima Acres or Greyhawk. See? You could do as many as you want. Knowing how to do this advanced map searching will greatly enhance what you can do for your clients. It's not intuitive, and you might not master it the very first time you're trying to learn it all, do it all, but if you take some time and you practice and you get there, it will be worth it. I wrote a blog post at the beginning of the pandemic called Spend Some Time with ARMLS or something like that. You can go right here to the search bar. You see this little magnifying glass? That's how you search our website for things. You could also go here into the blog and put keywords into the search bar. Either way, same function, gets the same results. So I wrote spend more time or something like that with FlexMLS. And one of the things I suggested was building a library of overlays. You have time on your hands, why wouldn't you do that? Look at all the overlays I've made. You know how long it took me to do that? Some of them are really tricky. So practice with these. This is how you set yourself apart from the thousands of realtors who are out there. ARMLS alone, as the MLS in this greater Phoenix region, has almost 40,000 agents. Set yourself apart. Kelly was nice enough to arrange this class for us today so that you're getting education that a lot of agents aren't getting. Utilize it. See in the chat. What would the search be saved as again? What you explained in the beginning? I'm not really sure exactly what the question means, but if you are drawing a shape on the map and then you're saving it, you save it like any other search. You just do save, save search. And if you were drawing the shape on the map and searching with it at the same time, that's how you save it. But if you're drawing a shape on the map and you want to save it permanently in an overlay or something, that's when you have to do save. That wasn't an overlay, sorry. I'm going to start again. That's when you would do save Polygon as my map overlay. There's a lot of different searching ways. I'm hoping I answered your question. Speaking of questions, I am going to, in the chat, put my email address so that if you want to log off now that we're at the hour mark, you can, because I'm not doing any more tricks, but I am going to stay for up to a half hour if everyone wants to hang around to answer questions. So if you're not shy and you want to unmute yourself, or if you're shy and you want to type something in, again, I can stay until about 3:30 to answer questions. Someone said, nice class, I like the shapes concept. You're welcome. So I'll stick around and I'm going to wait for questions because we are done with the actual advanced content. We did a lot. We learned about advanced ways of using the search template. We learned how to customize our toolbar. We learned how to do a whole bunch of stuff with the shapes and how to make overlays. So we covered quite a bit, and I'm going to turn it over to anyone who has a question. I'm keeping my eye on the box, and I'll also listen if anybody's unmuting themselves and wanting to talk. I can't imagine no one has questions. I hear someone.
Are you able to overlap circles, for instance, and make one of them the not within?
No, once you overlap them, you only get, you see how I have my shapes here on the left. I have two different shapes, but only one filtering box. So yeah, you would have to do two different searches. If you wanted one shape within, one not within, you would have to do two searches.
Okay.
That was a really good question though. While we're waiting for other people to maybe type in questions or shout something out, Kelly has something else awesome planned for you all. She's invited me back on December 14th to teach again. And she kind of wants you to weigh in and let her know what you want me to teach, because I can do some more advanced stuff and more tips and more tricks. I have more things in the hat I could pull out, or we can do a different topic completely, like monsoon or subscriptions and portals. So chat with Kelly about it. She still has plenty of time to decide and to let me know. And on December 14th, when I come back, we can cover that information.
Hey, Kelly or Michelle, do you do also like CMAs, a class for CMAs?
We do not have a class for CMAs. It's a very small topic because the best person to teach you on CMAs is your broker or a title rep. At the ARMLS level, at the MLS, we're not really, it gets fuzzy with guiding the market kind of.
Okay.
What we do have for you is a very brief, in the learning section of our website, a very brief online class called CMAs and FlexMLS.
Yes, I did see that.
Yeah. It's not a very in-depth, it's not going to teach you about, comps and things like that. That is best asked at the broker level. We don't dive too far into CMAs.
Right, yeah. And is Kelly still around?
Yes, sorry, I'm writing in the chat. I'm just doing work at the same time.
Oh, sorry, Kelly.
That's okay.
So if you guys, do you ever do any classes for CMAs? Just
Yeah, I actually just wrote that in there. Camille Cooey, one of our managing brokers, I reached out to her and she actually loves the subject. So I'm going to book her soon to teach a class.
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh. Yes, because is there a way that I would be able to ask her some questions?
Absolutely. I'll put her email into the chat. Are you able to read the chat?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Kelly.
A CMA class is a great idea. It's a very tricky topic, and you really need an expert guiding you, on how to best navigate around the market and pull those comps and not fall into certain pitfalls. So I'm glad to hear that Kelly has an expert for you lined up.
Oh yes, that is awesome. I have a couple of questions, and to me, it doesn't matter how long you've been in the business, how long you've been in a realtor. You can always learn something different. So I would really love to go to a CMA class just to touch up on some things.
Yeah, great idea. Excellent idea. Okay, anyone else with questions? All right, well, while we're waiting to see if there's anything else, I just want to remind you, the blog, I write most of the articles. They're pretty informative. Use the search words if you're looking for something in particular, or click here on the black boxes for key topics, and take and really explore what we have here for you. Take some of the online classes we have, or take a class with me. My classes are long. Two of them are 2.5 hours. One of them is 90 minutes, but they're pretty informative. So lots of options for you for learning. All right, I don't know. It's hard for me to see everyone. I'm not sure if people are dropping off. I only have a view of 4 people at a time. So
we still have over 20 people on here.
Oh, we do. So are they just being really quiet?
Yeah, they're overwhelmed. You blew their minds.
Oh, I'm glad. Okay. I'm getting a lot of little messages in the chat that they were great pointers, great class. So I'm happy about that. I did put my email in there earlier, so hopefully everybody saw that. You can feel free to email me with any questions, and be sure to let Kelly know what topic you think might be good for our class. Obviously, CMAs is being covered by someone else, but we can do a variety of other topics.
Perfect. It was great. Thank you, Michelle.
All right. All right. I guess I'm just going to let you guys go, and you get your 25 minutes extra back and do something really great with that time.
Thank you.
Kelly,
Yes.
are you gonna put the email on here, or are you gonna send me an email?
For Camille, I put it in the chat.
Oh, I don't see it.
I can also email you.
Please, because I can't see it. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't actually see that either. So I don't
You
know,
know
maybe
what's weird?
something's wrong.
Why every one of my messages says it's going to everyone in the waiting room. Oh,
Oh,
my word.
Oh,
Why would it say
yeah.
that? I don't have a choice for everyone. It just, everyone in meeting. It just changed. Oh my
That's
no
funny.
wonder I'm sitting here waiting to see the email, and I'm like, oh, she's gonna leave, and I don't see it.
Yeah,
Let me
these
go one more
technology
time.
things can always trip you up. There's always something that goes wrong. All right, well, thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming. I appreciate that you took the time to learn, and I hope you practice some of the fun and advanced things I've showed you.
Yes,
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye, thank you so much.